very, very important.
No,
It is
that's
not
not it.
enough.
That's not what I want.
Bad basketball. The refs killed the game, and I will be the first
this is
to
awful
admit.
too.
Texans who will forever regret passing on Johnny
Is that serious
Manziel.
right now?
Golden Boy's coming
what?
back.
And he wants to come back.
Dancing with the
No.
Stars.
And
Dancing with the
he
Stars.
called
No.
out
No.
Conor McGregor.
Oh, shit.
No, that's
God,
true.
no.
Yes.
Hey,
It's a true
motherfucker.
story.
This I can get into.
And you're listening to Scout Team Sports. I am Kyle Sanders, Loudbeard, whatever the hell you want to call me. And right next to me is
Chris America.
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 Theme song?
Yeah. And over there, there's a shiny looking object.
Something's wrong with these guys tonight.
And it is a golden microphone.
Hell yes.
And there is a man wielding that golden microphone right now. What is your name, sir?
King Joffrey.
Little white guy. I like it. There you go. Blonde hair, blue eyes. That actually describes you perfectly. I don't know how that worked out, but it definitely works
Peach
for
fuzz
you.
on the chin.
It works out, dude. Don't call
little
it peach
peach.
fuzz, homie. That's what you got. This is a full grown man beard, boy. All right, get it right. Get it fucking right. The man with the motherfucking golden mic. I'm back, you bitches.
Yeah, where'd you go?
My daughter's birthday.
Oh, okay. I guess that's
Man,
important.
your phone is going off like crazy, bro.
It is, it is. Here we go.
Man, what the hell? You guys are amateurs.
Guys, silence your phones during
is
the
this
show.
is this amateur
what to
hour?
fucking
This is
do.
totally amateur
Are you
hour.
serious?
Well, guess what? If you're at the movies and you're catching a cool movie, it sucks because we're way better. You should listen to us at scoutteamradio.com and on iTunes, or check us out on 12ouncesportsradio.com.
12 Oz, yo.
12OZ, old
Hey,
school.
Now, you saw the Star Wars movie, right?
I did, and it was fantastic.
Anthony,
I
you
did
saw it? You were
not.
first in line?
I didn't know. I want to. I want to go.
Okay, okay.
I'm actually a Star Wars guy, dude.
Are you a
I
Star
like
Wars
it,
fan?
Yeah, but I didn't watch it on the opening night. So
You know
don't
how I'm
spoil it for me.
how I claim my legitness as a Star Wars fan?
How's that?
I have a sticker of Jar Jar Binks on the back of my car.
That's too legit to quit.
That doesn't mean anything.
It means that I am legit AF.
That just means
mother
That just means it was on
effing
clearance
golden
or
mic.
something and you bought it or something like that.
No,
Yeah.
that means I'm representing to the world who my true self is, and that is Jar Jar Binks, Star Wars fan extraordinaire.
So would you give this new movie a Scout Team MVP?
I would.
How many beards would you give it?
All right, so
Out of 5 beards, how many
I do
beards
5
would you rate
beards.
this movie?
I'd give it 4 beards. I'm not giving
4
it a full
beards?
5.
Okay.
And there's reason for that. I'm not going to say them because that's a spoiler thing, and I don't want to be a douchebag and spoil it for everybody that hasn't seen it. If it was just Anthony with us right now, I would spoil the shit out of it. But because he is, because there are listeners out there that really appreciate the insight that we give them in sports and may have not already seen the Star Wars movie, I'm not going to spoil it for them. But I would give it 4 out of 5 beards on my beardometer.
Now there's what, 8 total Star Wars movies, right?
Yeah.
Where would you rank this one?
You know what? I like the classics, so the original 3 are going to be top three, no matter what. I actually liked the first one in this new series a little bit better.
Force Awakens?
The Force Awakens. I'm going to give Force Awakens 4th, this one 5th, and then the other 3.
Over Rogue One?
Rogue One really wasn't that great to me.
Yeah,
Rogue One is definitely over
I'll
the
tell you
other
what.
3. Like nothing is like the other 3.
But
are
I wasn't
the bottom.
counting Rogue One because it's
Well,
kind
that's
of
why I
its
said
own
there's 8
standalone.
That's why I said there's 8 Star Wars movies.
There's 3,
Or
3.
9.
There's 9.
There's
So I
9,
thought you were
so
talking
yeah.
about just in the Star
Okay,
Wars
yeah,
1,
so
2, yeah.
Okay, so then you would have that middle ground of the
Rogue
of the
One would
main
be better
Star
than the
Wars
first
Chronicles.
ones, yeah. Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
You guys like Rogue One?
I did like Rogue One. It was interesting. It was different. I like the
entertaining.
The character, the blind guy.
Yeah.
I'm one with the Force is one with me. It was it was good to see that bridge of the gap of like the 2 movies.
It was a great tie-in. It was, you could watch it and then watch the original series and it would just follow suit. It was like perfect. And there was a lot of holes in the story because in 77 when George Lucas released this movie, he wasn't realizing it was going to be such a huge universe and everybody would dissect the crap out of it. But once they did, they're like, you know what? Let's fill in some of these like plot holes. Like, how can you possibly shoot one little laser beam and blow up a giant Death Star?
Right, so we need to explain that.
We need to explain
and
that.
we need a full-on movie.
We need a whole movie to explain that one thing.
One hole.
Exactly.
True though. True. Absolutely true. I thought Rogue One was better than the one that came out last year, but
So Force Awakens,
Yeah,
you
they-
mean?
they-
'Cause
You didn't like
Rogue
Force
One is the one
Awakens?
that came out
I didn't
last
like
year.
Force Awakens.
Really?
It wasn't that great to me.
See, I liked Force Awakens. My one knock on Force Awakens was it was basically a New Hope regurgitated.
Well, yeah.
And so I thought they could have done a few extra twists in there. There wasn't anything that was overly shocking, but I did really still like it.
So you're saying the one that came out just now is better than?
I don't know. I'd give it an equal to Force Awakens. I'm not gonna. I mean, that's
I mean, in a lot of ways, they're replaying a lot of the same storylines. What's his name? Luke Skywalker's just basically doing what Yoda did.
Yep.
Running away from a battle he lost and trying to hide himself away on a remote planet. That's just basically what Yoda did after he lost to Emperor Palpatine.
I just like the
Boy
black
and his
guy
father trying to figure out their own stuff with the dark side and the light side between Kylo Ren and Han and Luke and Darth and everything. So
I agree. There was a lot of regurgitation. It's still a great story, great movies. You can't go wrong with it, but I wouldn't say it was the greatest ever by any means.
except the black guy plays the lead role.
yeah, so Finn is a really strong character.
Just saying.
They got a female character as a strong lead role as well. Her and Finn they were amazing in this movie.
First of
I
all,
thought they were fantastic.
in the first series, Lando Calrissian is an underrated.
Oh, he's very underrated.
He
so
is
Mace
the
Windu.
man.
So is Mace Windu.
So yeah, Mace Windu in the second one.
Well, okay, Mace
But they
is
were
good,
more
but-
of secondary characters.
Right,
They're not
right.
lead characters. But
Well,
Lando.
wait
Wait a
Mace-
second.
Mace Windu takes no backseat, homie. He's the motherfucking man.
With the purple
Purple lightsaber, and
the
he's got a golden microphone.
Yeah. Fuck
Or
that.
lightsaber. Same thing.
So speaking of regurgitating things, it looks like Floyd Mayweather and UFC are regurgitating a fight. Dana White says Floyd wants in the UFC.
Well, you know what? I can't blame him. That's where the fighting is going. Mayweather, you know what? He doesn't want to tarnish his reputation as a boxer. He's 50-0. If he gets back in the boxing squared circle, he could easily lose that undefeated record. If he goes to UFC, it's kind of like starting over, starting from scratch. So it doesn't matter if he loses there because it's always like, well, I still have my boxing record. And I can still fight and still make a shit ton of money.
That is the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard. Floyd Mayweather cannot go fight at UFC.
Yeah, he's gonna get his ass kicked.
Yeah, come on, dude. There's no logical way to look at this. It's crazy. It's insane.
The second the fight goes to the ground, he's done.
over.
It's over.
Dude, no, dude. They box without gloves for one. So I don't know how Floyd can actually take a hit without having 5-pound gloves on you. You know,
He can still take a hit.
I'm sure he'll take a hit, but I don't know why
Not
any
too
fighter.
many.
I don't know why any fighter would want to box him anyways. Like, if I'm a
gonna take
UFC
him
fighter,
to
the
the ground.
second I get into that ring, the second the bell rings, I'm shooting in on you and I'm taking your ass down, and then I'm just gonna ground and pound your ass.
so
Now, and this could be a bad comparison. You can call me out on this shit, but when Brock Lesnar was a WWE superstar and then he decided to go over, I know he's a big, scary dude, but he really wasn't that skilled in martial arts at that point. He trained a lot. He had some background, but I don't think it would be a whole lot different than that. I don't know. Am I off base?
a whole lot different.
You're completely off because, and
Good God.
it's nothing against you, but Brock Lesnar was a national championship winning beast of a wrestler. So he's used to the fighting styles that goes to the ground. Where Brock got himself in trouble was when he tried to stand up and fight. So he has the opposite of what Mayweather has. Mayweather would love to get in the ring and stand up and fight, and I'll take my chances with him being able to take a punch with lighter gloves or with no gloves. Boxing, I'll take my chances with him boxing than I would with him getting taken down, where Brock Lesnar was the opposite. Brock Lesnar was a beast of a wrestler. The guy is extremely athletic, When I saw him wrestle in UFC, which is what he did, that's how he won his fights, was he just used his strength to just take people down, sit on top of them, and just beat their faces in. And they couldn't get up because he's an extremely good wrestler who is skilled in the fact of keeping people down. That's what you do in wrestling. When he lost his fights, I think he lost to Overeem, is when Overeem didn't let him take him down. He couldn't take Overeem down, so he had to do a stand-up fight, and he got his ass beat. Because he's not used. That's the part of UFC that he wasn't used to, was the stand-up fight. And it's just the opposite with Mayweather. Mayweather's not used to the takedowns and the ground fighting type aspect of it.
But what if they put him up against a fighter that kind of fits into his mold? So there's a lot of UFC fighters. Most of them are pretty good on the ground, but there are some that are better than others. So if you take a guy that's a straight striker, that you match him up against Mayweather, you might have a good fight that would be like people would want to see. They want to see Mayweather out there. I mean, I joked around and was saying about Conor McGregor. I think that's where the end game would ultimately like to be for UFC, but I don't see that happening. I don't see Mayweather getting in there with McGregor. But if Mayweather went into the UFC and they got somebody that was like a big name, that was a stand-up kind of fighter, it would be a worthwhile investment for both parties. And Floyd's always got big tax bills.
Yeah.
He's got to still pay those taxes.
Well, now there's a tax cut that just happened, man.
Oh, man, he's looking out, man.
Looking out,
Good
man.
looking out for you, Floyd. That money's got to keep flowing in, man.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is money Mayweather. He doesn't
Although
mess
the
around.
$100 million was made before the tax cut, so he's gonna have to make another $100 million after the tax cut, so he can keep that money.
I'm sure Dana White would love to make that happen.
You guys are too analytical over just hearsay. It's not going to happen. Floyd, hopefully he has
Sounds like a bet. Let's do a bet.
Hopefully he has some smart guys around him to say, hey, you can throw this on Twitter and Facebook and everything and get hyped up, but you're not really going to step in a ring, are you? Like, come on. He has to have some friends to be like, nah, bro, don't do it.
I think it'll take money from Dana White.
That's a lot of money.
Dana White will be opening Pandora's box for UFC if he pays Floyd Mayweather type money, because then all of the other fighters in UFC are going to say, what's the deal, bro? Like, number one, you took away all of our sponsorships. We're not allowed to wear anything but Reebok down to the ring, and you pay us jack crap. You don't pay us anything when we fight these fights compared to what you make off of UFC.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're just going to let this guy waltz in and make $100 million while you're paying me, 6 figures? Because a lot of these fighters, unless you're Conor McGregor or whatever, you're only getting paid $100,000, $200,000.
Exactly.
Some of the undercard guys are getting paid like $30,000, $40,000. It's not much.
And that's another thing. Even if you throw $100 million at him, are you actually going to make that? Like, that's a legitimate question. Will anybody watch MMA and make that big of a draw?
I don't think it'll be as big of a draw as the
Boxing.
McGregor-Mayweather fight, because boxing, as much as it's down in the United States, it is still huge around the world and a lot of countries like South America. I know the islands are very big into boxing. Some parts of Europe and Russia are really huge into boxing.
Yep.
It's a worldwide event, and I don't know that you're going to get those worldwide viewers to want to see Mayweather fight in a UFC fight. They'll look at it more of a circus than we looked at.
But you're
the
comparing it to that big
McGregor-Mayweather
fight. You've got a lot of.
Well, if he's making $100 million, if that's what's going to take to get him in there, it's going to be that kind of a fight.
He
Period.
made what, 300 million plus, and Mayweather. Yeah, McGregor made 100 million plus. So you're talking about a $400 to $500 million purse. He could be let's say they say you can make 50 million, and that's still a lot of money, right? Like he may get in the ring for that 50 million. Let's say that, and whoever he fights makes $1 million.
He ain't getting in the ring for 50 million.
All right, you say that, but
he
Dana
can
White
go back to boxing and
is
get 100.
Dana White is on the record to say that usually when Mayweather tips his hat to the media of something that's going on, that shit ends up happening. That's what Dana White said. So he's saying that Mayweather's all in on this. And it right now may be a rumor, but this could happen. And I'm just saying, it may not be the magnitude of the original boxing fight, but this could be something that's quite the circus. And I would like to see it.
The last time I saw him get this excited, he lost a rumper bet. I'm just saying.
So who would you bet on? Would you bet on Mayweather this time?
Well, it was a 9.5 bet against Florida State, and I was going with the under.
look,
So
there you
that's the
go.
last time I get
You
excited
talking
about a bet.
shit?
So I don't know about you guys.
You talking shit, huh? All right.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm mixing up bets.
He beat
Wait, that
the
was when you
Irish
got
out of you.
excited about a
He
bet.
beat the Irish
That's
out of
when
you.
you got excited about a bet, sir. Wait, were you asking a question? I'm sorry. Lost
Well,
track.
I don't know if there's a question there, but I will give an answer to what Anthony said. A year ago, I guess it was. Yeah, it was about a year ago. McGregor was calling out Mayweather in a boxing match, and I thought the same thing. I was like, this is never going to happen. This is just Conor McGregor trying to make a name for himself. It's just a stupid circus show. And then it actually happened like 4 or 5 months later.
That was a different. That was a big difference,
Right.
though, because it was on Mayweather's playground. He was the
Right.
king of that ring. There's no king of the ring that's calling out Mayweather to come. Hey, look, come fight me in the ring in MMA. No one's doing that. It's just Dana White just saying, "Hey, look, it might happen."
Dana White is the king of the ring in the UFC.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
How much that last fight they brought in?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll pull it up on the fax machine.
Not 100 million.
I mean, he's not. Dana White is
saying.
nowhere near a boxing promoter. He's
Thank
no
you,
Don
bro.
King
It's
yet.
not happening.
It was getting there. There was definitely a trend. I mean, hey, we can't hate on me. He just sold UFC for $4 billion. So
Fine. I
can't
UFC
hate on
from
him.
where it was 20 years ago to where it's at
where it's at
today,
now, yeah.
it is leaps and bounds. And honestly,
Absolutely.
boxing's on the downswing. So if you take Mayweather out of boxing, the rest of the dudes aren't making those huge purses like Mayweather's
They're
doing.
still
So,
making more than MMA fighters. Period. They are.
all right. Well, we'll go with that. I mean, again, it's a
once
small
again-
percentage of
so
guys.
once again, if
And
I wanna
UFC's
fight-
an up and coming league, and boxing's kind of a downward trending league. In my opinion, and I believe there's probably facts to go along with that. I don't have them in front of me, but let's talk about a real MMA fight. We're gonna go back and forth on this forever, but let's talk about a real one. So, Cyborg and Holly Holm are going at it. So, do you guys think Holly Holm can do it twice? Upset a legendary UFC fighter on December 30th. Do you think that she can beat?
Who
can
did
do
she
it?
already beat?
Who do you
beat
think?
Ronda
Ronda
Rousey.
Rousey.
Ronda Rousey, man. Rowdy Ronda Rousey.
And Cyborg destroyed Ronda Rousey?
No.
No.
Cyborg and Rousey never got to fight. Rousey, when she was in her prime or on the top of the world, Cyborg was too busy getting gigged for taking steroids and whatnot. So that fight never got to happen. But Cyborg is a beast. She dominated in her last fight. Really just roughed that girl up the last time. And we talked about how much UFC has grown in the last 10, 15 years. 10, 15 years ago, we would have never thought that two female fighters would be the talk of MMA or the talk of just any sports. I would say that female MMA division is probably the biggest female sport in the United States.
yeah.
As far as like where people give it legitimate conversation, it's prime time. They get sold as top billing, and people watch. People get excited about these female fights, and I think that's awesome, man.
I guess the only thing I could compare even close to it would be women's soccer when they won the World Cup.
Yeah, when they're in the Olympics or the World Cup.
Right.
Yeah.
Then, but on a regular basis,
On a regular basis,
week in and week
nobody's
out.
paying attention to the women's soccer team right now.
And Ronda Rousey became a household name quickly.
Right.
And there's a lot of other really great fighters out there. I know we've talked about it on the show quite a bit before, but Misha Tate, Paige Van Zant, these are big names. And now Cyborg's come in, and she's kind of become that like unstoppable force. So they're thinking, okay, let's bring back Holly Holm, who already beat one of the best fighters of our age, and let's see if she can maybe do an upset here to bring some publicity back to UFC. I think it's a great fight. I don't know if I could go home, but let's see what happens, right?
Yeah, so these are two fighters that you would say not because they're male and female, but these are the types of fighters that you would want to see Floyd Mayweather fight because these are two stand-up fighters. I'm not sure of what Cyborg's background is. I don't know her that well, but I do know that Holly Holmes is a former kickboxer, a kickboxing champion. So obviously she would love to stand up and box and have a stand-up fight. I don't know if Floyd can handle the kicks, though. I think a couple of those leg kicks to those twigs of his would probably cripple him down real fast. But
He skipped leg day.
but that would be who he, like you said, he'd want. Yeah, he does skip leg day.
Exactly.
Can't be legendary without leg day.
Just bounce around.
But yeah, so I would like to see Holm give her a good fight. I think it's a good matchup for Cyborg, but the way that Cyborg's been fighting, it's hard to see. But we thought that about Ronda Rousey too, and nobody gave Holm any chance, and Holm took it to Rousey. Now I think Cyborg has a little bit stronger of a chin than what Rousey has, so we'll see. Like you said, it'll be good to see.
Rousey, in the peak of her career, she was unstoppable, but I think she was at that point where she had already gotten all the notoriety she needed, and she really didn't take that fight seriously because Holm did not defend her belt very well. She ended up getting taken out pretty quickly by Miesha Tate shortly after that. So I don't know if that was a fluke situation or what, but Cyborg's no joke. She's not going to take it lightly. I would like to see Holm win, but I actually think Cyborg's going to knock the crap out of her. That's just my opinion on that. Anthony, you got any thoughts? All right. So
Wait.
Oh.
I've only seen Cyborg fight once, and she destroyed that girl. I don't have any opinion on Holly Holm. I just hope she doesn't get that pretty face messed up because Cyborg is a beast, and that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, she could send Holm home, and that leads me to a segue of somebody else who got sent home. Did you guys see Tom Brady's trainer got sent home? He
Wow.
used
What
to
happened?
have all kinds of access. He used to have his own office. He used to be allowed on the field with Tom Brady during football games. It was like he was Batman and Robin. He wasn't Robin. He was his Alfred. Like whatever Tom Brady needed, he got. And got sent home, no longer allowed. So there's something weird going on there in New England. It happened a couple of weeks ago, and Tom Brady and Bill Belichick want nothing to do with it. Don't want to discuss it or talk about it.
There's a little trouble in paradise.
They booted him from the sidelines in team playing, huh? They just kicked him out of everything.
Hey, he's done. And he was helping out. He was actually working with a lot of the other players. And now it's, okay, we know you're Tom's guy, and we're not going to mess with that. But you cannot touch any of the other players. They're off limits. And I don't know if it was the training staff there saying, okay, this holistic healer guy is like taking all of our work, and we think that these guys aren't getting the right treatment. Or maybe Bill Belichick was like, okay, I need to show that I'm powerful in this situation. So Tom Brady, I know you've taken me this far, but I'm still the guy, so let me take you down a peg.
Maybe he did something that caused him to lose to the Dolphins, and they're like, he's out.
That's true.
He did this, and they got blown out by the Dolphins. And he's like, because look, they came back and they looked strong against the Steelers.
Yeah, maybe he did, like before the game, he did a group
Well, they didn't
yoga
look
session.
strong against the Steelers. I mean,
They beat the
looked
Steelers.
Hey, a win's a win.
We talking about that? Not yet. Okay.
Game
keep
of
going.
inches. Game of inches. But he could have
Kiss
been
my ass.
doing some yoga session and doing like the love guru thing and doing like, weird smoke and hookahs and all kinds of crap. And they all went out and played like shit. And Bill Belichick was like, nope, done with you, out.
I mean, if it's that simple, it's that simple. But for somebody that's been in the organization with Tom Brady that long, and
Yeah,
they
something
kicked him
definitely
out,
big happened.
Yeah, something bigger than that happened.
Yeah, it's a weird situation, and it'll be kind of. I'm curious to see how it's all going to play out because you got Tom kind of getting to the end of his career, but he's really set on wanting to play 2 or 3 or 4 more really great years, and he showed it this year that he can play that at age 40 at such a high level. But is Bill Belichick like not on the same page with Tom? Is Bill Belichick looking at the future? Is he looking at, and I'm just throwing this out as a scenario, but Jimmy Garoppolo goes over to San Francisco,
Garoppolo.
wins 3 games straight, and Bill Belichick's like, Tom Brady's going to be falling off here soon. Maybe we should have moved on with Garoppolo. It's a conspiracy theory. You can't because he is the great Tom Brady and he is the GOAT. But at some point, Bill Belichick's going to have to say, all right, maybe it's time to move on. And Tom Brady seems like he doesn't want to because this healer is sitting there whispering in his ear, oh, if I keep treating you, you can play forever.
So you think Belichick is the cause? Something with him and Tom Brady, and not him and the trainer himself?
It's hard to say. I'm just throwing out some scenarios.
Did he sleep with Belichick's wife or something?
Whoa. I think you're taking this to a whole different level.
Jerry.
Throw it out there, homie, right?
And the answer is probably
what
yes.
would make a man, throw another man out of the team facilities like that?
Maybe he's like a quack. Like
Wait.
he's like seriously
How
like
is
one of
he a
those
quack?
doctors
He's
that a total
NFL
I got
quack.
another theory. Maybe he gave out some supplements. You know how like there's like roid rage and like testosterone and stuff?
There you go.
What if he gave out a supplement, tried it out on Gronk, and that's what made Gronk go all Hulkamaniac on
Oh, man,
that
fuck
dude
that.
on the ground?
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
like,
No.
oh man, like
No.
Gronk is known as the partier, the laid back guy. This
Yeah,
isn't
he's
like-
everybody's friend. He's not
everybody's
a
friend.
he's not a hater.
headhunter and
He's a lover.
He's a lover, not a fighter.
Sure.
That's what it
You
was.
guys believe that?
Listen, he's not.
I
a,
I'm
believe
not
that.
saying he's a dirty player.
Listen, he's
but
not a
Gronk
player. He's
Gronk
just
has
crushed
had
a
some
lot.
questionable calls in the past before. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
players on the opposing side has already said, Gronk isn't as clean as everybody thinks he is. I'm just saying, right?
No, I think it was this doctor,
So let's talk.
trainer,
So,
whatever he is.
so you're talking about being clean. Let's talk about that non-clean catch that the Steelers had at the end of that
It
game.
wasn't clean, bruh. Come on. I mean, that was a bad call. It was a bad call.
it was a good call.
No, it wasn't. That was
you
a
can,
catch.
You can say it's a bad rule, but you can't say it was a bad call.
That was a fucking catch.
According to the
man.
rules of the league, that's not a catch.
Oh, now you want to go to the rules. It's the rules.
That's the rules.
Fuck the rules.
By the letter of the law,
Exactly.
the referees did exactly what they were supposed to
Kiss
do,
my
even
ass.
though it was total bullshit.
I'm not a Steelers fan.
You know
but
what?
they
You
got
have to have
robbed.
some sort of common sense. You have to be able to look at it and say, this is a damn catch. So whatever the competition committee does, I think this is a bad look for football, man. NFL, I think they're looking at a product that's still number one in the world or number one in the United States with sales and viewership and all that. But they have this fragile balance. It could start falling at some point, and people don't want to sit there and watch 2, 3, 4 minute replays and then say, dude, we all see it's a catch, but because of your dumbass rules, it's not a catch.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And Steelers fans, I know you guys probably saw this video because it was all over Twitter, all over Facebook. But that one Steelers fan that's like throwing shit
Broke
and
the
like
TV.
breaking the TV, throwing his remote, going ape.
Yeah.
Like that was happening, not in just that guy's home, but in like probably
Every
50,000 Steelers
homes,
fans'
yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Broken windows, broken TVs, kids with like black eyes, and you're like, whoa, I didn't mean to do that. I'm not an abuser.
It's going to be a State Farm commercial pretty soon.
It
where the
is.
bald
It should
guy's
be.
Like,
Oh,
shows
no,
a
no.
broken TV statue and
That or the accident guy. What was
the mayhem guy.
Mayhem.
Is it Nationwide?
Yeah, it'd be mayhem.
That's
I mean,
true.
it was a catch. I thought it was a catch. I mean, millions of others thought it was a catch. At the time, the refs thought it was a catch. They ruled it a touchdown.
But the rule is you got to maintain control of the football through the ground, and he didn't. Like his left hand comes off the ball rolls around while his
You're
left hand's
going
off the
at
ball.
10
So
frames of sacking.
that's
I
what we
guess.
wanted. We wanted instant replay, and
Yeah.
that's what we got.
we got what we wanted.
Yeah,
So
I'm not so
the
sure.
rule is bad. I agree with you guys. The rule is bad. That should have been a catch, but it's not. So it's not a bad call. It's a bad rule. And you know what the NFL says to you guys, to everybody complaining about it?
F you.
We don't give a crap. It's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's the same way with Roger Goodell. Oh, you want to complain about me suspending people? Guess what? I'm going to suspend more people. It doesn't matter. I don't care about the fans. Well, you don't like the fact that the NFL games are on Thursday night and they're crappy games? Guess what? We don't care. We make millions of dollars off of it, so we're going to keep doing it.
They do.
Now, what do you think about the rule that if it's a first down, you have to take an index card and put it in between the
That was
football
also
and
it was just janky, man. I mean, it was just
was that the worst? Like,
it was
what's
just
weirdest?
some bullshit, dude.
What's funny is Eisen had some guy that used to be a referee for
Yeah, they used
forever,
to
and he
do
said,
it.
"Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to do that all the time."
Yeah, they used to. I
this
get
is like
it.
an old school
I
type
see-
thing.
I've seen high school coaches do it. I've seen Pop Warner coaches do it. They do it. It doesn't make it better. I mean, once again, it's just like, why? Like, seriously, bro. Is it a first down?
Man, it's
or
the
not?
same
Judge
reason.
it.
Like, you can have instant replay in 20 different angles, all slow motion, but you have to have two like old guys run out on the field with chains, to be able to establish whether it's a first down. And then one of them's got to take an index card and put it next to the chain in the football, and that's how we've gotten technology.
You even think about this too is. Where they spot the ball is just a guesswork anyway.
just-
Right.
They like run up, they put their foot down,
Yeah.
and
And
then
then
they put the
boom.
ball down on top. And it, like, let's say he accidentally moved the ball, or not even accidentally. Let's say he moved the ball just an ass hair
Someone
to the
kicked it
right
by-
or an
by
ass hair to
accident.
the left before the chains come out.
Yep.
Then it's just
it's all guesswork for the most part when it comes to that
It
stuff. So
is.
when you're pulling out your index card, yeah, it looks stupid when you're doing that.
It is not as bad as the Steelers catch.
Just look at it and say, is that a first down? Now, the other thing that happened this weekend that a lot of people were talking about that I also don't, I've never liked it, is the fumble out of the end zone goes to the defense.
Oh, the Derek Carr one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that rule.
That is
rule
a
is
terrible
worse than
rule.
the catch rule.
I agree.
Nah, I don't. Well, I guess so. I played
The defense should have to gain possession. It's called a takeaway. I mean,
Right.
I guess they
Yeah.
call them giveaways too, but it's called a takeaway for the most part. And you have to actually take the ball away.
It's like fumbling out of bounds.
Yeah.
Like if you fumble out of bounds, it's still your ball. You don't give it over to the other team because you lost control and it went out of bounds. Same thing in the end zone. It should not be any different. And that game, the Cowboys first down was probably a bigger story. But then Derek Carr also
was
has
a
a
bigger
chance for the reach at the end of the game. And that's happened a lot of times this year. I feel like there's been 3 or 4 times this year where that's happened. And it's a dumb call. It's a dumb rule. And again, as referees, they follow the letter of the law and they do everything they can to make sure that they follow
the
it.
time, but yeah, I guess.
I don't know. They're pretty. I mean, most of these guys are like lawyers or judges, and that's what they do in their off season. And in the regular season, they are very analytical. And don't get me wrong; these guys are out there busting their asses, and it's hard when you are sitting there and getting criticized by millions of people who have slow motion TV with great big HD TVs in their houses. These guys do a really good job. And when we had those scab referees, you saw how bad other referees could be. So, you know what? Good for them. They're doing their job. I don't think they're the problem. I think it's the NFL.
I mean, it's somewhat. It's blame. There's enough blame to go around for everybody, I guess. You know, we talk about refs being blind and not being able to make the right calls, and then we get the HD TVs and 4-minute replays, and then we mess with the call. Like, hey, look, that should have been a catch, you know. But now they're going to the letter of the rule, so it's blame.
It's just
for
part of the
everybody.
entertainment of sports, to be
Exactly.
honest. I
It
mean, there's not
is.
a
Hey, it gives
single,
us something to talk about.
There's not a single
Yeah.
sports league
I'm not
that
pissed
you've
off.
watched where you were like,
perfect.
that was a perfectly called game.
Yep.
I mean, the referees are just as imperfect as your quarterback, as your wide receivers, as your starting point guard, whatever. Like, they make mistakes. You just don't want to see their mistake decide the game. That's what you hate to see.
And there's been a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
There has been.
A lot of the refs deciding the game.
But it's been happening for centuries.
Yeah.
And we just now talk about it even more than we ever did
Right.
because everybody's got a microphone in their face.
But once
like
again,
us.
but once
we can
again,
talk about it.
I don't want to go and try to perfect the system because then we end up with the 4-minute replays and the overturned catch. So no, we're good. Just keep it rolling.
Well, we talked about the Raiders. That could be, and I told you so for Anthony. You told us, man, they weren't going to make the playoffs. I think they're eliminated, right?
Yeah, no, they're out. They're out. The only teams right now. So if we look at the playoff race in the AFC, we've already got Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, and New England who have completely clinched playoff position. So those 3 teams are in. So you got 3 spots left. You got Kansas City, Tennessee, Buffalo, Baltimore, and Los Angeles. And you know what? The LA Chargers are sitting there at the bottom. They need something to happen with Kansas City for them to even get an opportunity to jump into that spot. But Baltimore, Buffalo, and Tennessee fighting there for the 5th and 6th wild card spots. So it's interesting because they're all sitting there. A lot of teams at 8 and 6, and then LA at 7 and 7. So who do you guys think? I mean, Buffalo is still in the playoff picture right now. Do you think Buffalo can actually be in the playoffs this year? What do you think?
I hope so. I actually hope so, and I hope Tyrod Taylor is their quarterback. That way, all the speculation that they benched him in the middle of the season when he was actually winning games can just go away. I hope they make the
I'm
playoffs.
going to throw a wrinkle in there for you.
Go ahead.
Buffalo plays New England this week.
You know what? I picked that game. Remember a couple of weeks ago, and I picked that game on the schedule, and you guys were like, yeah, whatever. What are we talking about this game for? I'm not going to call an upset. I mean, shit. I want him in, so I guess I got to call it upset. I got to call an upset.
So you got you think Buffalo takes out?
I think Buffalo beats New England.
All right, okay.
I think Buffalo gets in.
I think you're crazy, but
I might be.
I know there's a lot of things that could happen because even at the 5th seed right now is Tennessee Titans. They're at 8 and 6, but they're playing the Los Angeles Rams this week.
Rams are gonna run all over them.
The Rams are going to run all over them, so Tennessee could easily jump out of there.
Yeah.
Buffalo's got New England, which you think Buffalo has a chance. I do not. So
They got to win this. They got to win this one. If not, they open up the door for a lot of other people, right?
now Kansas City's playing Miami, so Miami's out of it, but Kansas City's sitting there at the 4th seed. Do you think Miami can reconjure up that magic that they had against Tom Brady to take out the Chiefs?
No, I think the Chiefs have turned the page now. They kind of turned that corner. They've gotten a couple wins under their belt, and I think if they win this week, if I'm looking at this right, they lock up their division if they beat Miami, because they'll finish the season at worst 9-7, and if the Chargers finish out 9-7, they have the tiebreak over them. So I think right now they're going to try and really solidify their playoff berth and solidify the AFC West, and I don't see Miami beating the Chiefs.
Now, the Chiefs, you're saying they figured it out. You know what they started doing is handing the ball to Kareem Hunt. So there was a time there where they're like, oh, let's give like 8 to 10 carries to Kareem Hunt right in the middle of the season.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they're like, wait a second. Let's give him 20 to 25 carries. Let him get 150 to 200 yards. Then we don't need Alex Smith to throw the ball so much, and we'll win. It's working. It's working. So I personally think the Chiefs are going to take that 4th seed, like you said. So they're in. And then with Tennessee and Buffalo, I'm going to throw it out there. I still think the Chargers, and maybe this is me riding high on my prediction earlier, I think the Chargers may sneak in one of these last seeds if Buffalo and Tennessee both take some losses here. But I don't know. I have to look at what the tiebreakers would be for that to happen. So I don't know. It's going to be ugly teams at the very end of the AFC.
They got the Jets and the Raiders. They might get the Jets, but the Raiders are going to play spoiler.
Well, okay, so you guys haven't been talking about the Baltimore Ravens that are also sitting in that mix, and they have the Colts.
Yeah.
I don't know who they have the week after that, but if the Ravens and the Chargers win this week, and the teams that we said we're going to lose, the Buffalo Bills and the
Titans.
And the Titans, that puts Baltimore firmly into that 5th slot. And then who do they play week 17?
They play the Bengals.
All right, so
they play the Bengals.
The Ravens are definitely
Yep.
The ball is set up for them to just spike it down and get themselves into the playoffs right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
The way that's going. I know you've been high on your LA Chargers. You were on that bandwagon, but it definitely took a huge hit.
Yeah, this past
losing
week
to the Chiefs.
That was a huge loss. They need some things to fall their way. They might still make it. I'm with you, though. I think the Baltimore Ravens will take the other playoff seed. I just don't trust the Titans. I don't trust the Bills. And then there's the Chargers. So between those 3 teams, one of those guys are going to get lucky and sneak in that last spot.
Going to be Buffalo.
So over to the NFC, though, it's just as crowded there, but it's mostly crowded at the 6th seed, where the AFC, you can mix and match people for the 5th and 6th seed. Here, I think for now, I want to feel like Carolina and New Orleans are set at 4 and 5. And then it's going to be a race between the Falcons, the Lions, the Seahawks, and the Cowboys. Now, the Falcons hold tie breaks over the Lions and the Seahawks. Did they play the Cowboys this year? I don't remember.
I don't believe so. I can't think.
Did who?
The Falcons.
And the
I don't think they
Cowboys.
played the Cowboys this year.
But
I think they did.
so the Falcons sit pretty nice there. And I remember I told you guys a few weeks ago that Falcons-Seahawks game is going to be a big factor as to how the season's going to pan out. And right now,
they lost to the Falcons 27-7.
So the Falcons right now, everybody below the Falcons need the Falcons to lose 2 games. So they need them. They need them to lose the next 2 weeks. Otherwise, the Falcons have tie breaks over everybody. So they're at 9 and 5. The Lions, the Seahawks, and the Cowboys have 6 losses, and they hold the tiebreak over all of those teams. So that's a good place for the Falcons to sit.
Yeah, Falcons get in.
Yeah, no, I think this is chalk right here. So we're going to see what it is. Right now, the LA Rams, the New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers, and Atlanta Falcons, none of them have clinched playoffs, but they're all sitting there primed to stick where they're at.
And they all play each other, too. So the Falcons aren't a shoo-in. They have the New Orleans Saints. They're at New Orleans. And then they have to go play the Carolina Panthers. If the Falcons beat New Orleans, then obviously they're in. They don't have to worry about that Panthers game. But if they lose, they really have to try and win that. and the Panthers, they're still up for to winning that division. Right now, New Orleans has the tiebreak because they beat the Panthers twice. But if New Orleans loses either of these weeks and Carolina wins out, they could be sitting as the divisional leader, and they get that home game instead of being the wild card.
That is crazy. A couple of years ago, the NFC South was like
It was garbage.
garbage.
But this is the parody of the NFL. I mean, it completely switches around. And what you're saying there, so the Falcons, I didn't even look at this, but them playing the Saints and then the Panthers,
That's a tough slate.
They could easily fall out of that, and then that actually opens the door for the Lions. I think the Lions have a shot, and the Lions are playing the Bengals this week.
The Bengals and Aaron Rodgers-less Packers.
So they've got two easier games coming up, and you look at the Bengals, you already have Marvin Lewis announcing that he's not going to be the coach moving forward. Mm-hmm. So that team's already in disarray. They've given up on the season. Like, these guys have already, you could tell there's some quit in those guys, and the Lions have a lot easier route than the Falcons do. So,
and if I'm honest, as a Carolina Panthers fan, I'm really
Yeah,
rooting.
he wants the Lions to win.
No. I'm actually rooting. I want to see the Saints and the Vikings. Like, I need the Vikings to lose twice, and I need the Saints to lose once. I don't know how it'd work between us and the Rams if we both went out, but I'm really hoping that somehow we sneak away with a 12-4 record and a bye week.
Didn't you guys play the Rams already?
I don't know. We didn't play the Rams this year. We did play the Vikings, and we beat the Vikings. So if the Vikings lose once and the Saints lose once, actually, I just need the Vikings, the Saints, and the Rams to all lose once, so that way we can get that bye week. That's all I want. I want that bye week. I want some sort of home field advantage, especially if the Eagles, without Carson Wentz, it's one thing to beat the New York Giants. It's a whole other thing to have whoever you're going to play in that week 2 of the playoffs.
I get it, but they got a pretty good backup now.
No, Foles is good, and he looks good against.
His backup.
He looked good against the Giants, but again, it's the Giants.
He didn't need to do much though.
It's the 2-14 Giants. Or
so
2-2
it was the 11-2 Eagles going against the 2-11 Giants is what the records were.
I get that, but he still didn't need to do too much, and they still got a
Hey,
hell of a
4
good
touchdowns
defense.
in the NFL is not.
Yeah.
That's no joke. So
And
Well, all I know is if he gets the Rams, the Saints, or the Panthers or the Falcons to go into the Eagles, that's a tough.
oh yeah,
That's a tough out
no.
with Nick Foles. I mean, again, he
NFC
plays
up,
well.
up and down the NFC right now, the top 8 teams are solid. Like, there's not a weakness. Where in the AFC, when you're looking at the Titans and the Ravens
Yeah,
and
looking
the
at top
Bills, you're kind of like, it's more of a top 3, top 4 in the AFC, but the NFC is more of a top 6 or 7. So anybody that Foles goes up against is going to be a challenge for him. So there's definitely there's some intrigue there to see how he plays out. I'd like to see how he does this upcoming week, just to see what happens if he can hold on to that magic that he had this past week.
So I know
he does it.
we did talk about Aaron Rodgers-less Packers. I know that you're glad to see that because you talked about.
I mean, I remember I said it. Like,
Yeah, you said just don't even play him.
Don't play him. I mean,
Did you agree with him playing last week?
no, I did not want to. I mean, I didn't want him to play because, it's always when you come back and it's against a pretty solid defense,
Right.
You're gonna show signs of rust, and he showed signs of rust. It hurts the legend, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not in it for personal best or whatever, but I hate to see a guy like Aaron Rodgers perform
Like
badly.
that.
Yeah.
But I mean, nobody's going to look back and say, hey, remember that time he threw 3 picks against the Panthers on December 17th, 2017?
some people will.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah,
but
some
just
people
like
will.
people will probably talk about, hey, remember when Tom Brady had a terrible record in Miami? And they'll be like, yeah, but remember when he won 5 Super Bowls? Like,
Yeah,
nobody
it
will
doesn't
care.
matter. It doesn't
So,
matter.
I think Rodgers is pretty secure in his gold jacket legendary status.
Yeah.
I told the guys last week, you weren't here, but it was their only chance of beating the Panthers. I don't think Hundley could have come in and
Hundley wouldn't have did any better.
would have come in and did anything against the Panthers. And I was glad to see the Panthers win. It was, again, like we go up big against the team and then we let them come back. And
He did come back on you.
No, he did.
Yeah, he did.
The Patriots did the same thing to us. A few other teams throughout the year where in a fourth quarter, like middle of fourth quarter, I'm kicked back. I'm like relaxed, drinking my beer, thinking, all right, victory's in the bag. And then next thing I know,
Getting nervous.
I'm watching the Red Zone channel because the NFL sucks at carrying actual football games.
Oh my God! Yes, I actually watched this weekend. There was nothing on.
There's nothing
There
on.
was nothing on.
I was watching the Jacksonville game, and then like after the second quarter, I'm like, oh, this is awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacksonville's killing them.
Yeah. And that's why I can't bet on you guys in the playoffs. I can't bet on North Carolina in the playoffs because actually Carolina. My bad.
Wait, whoa. Hey,
I
are you
got-
trying
I
to
did
join
P. Diddy.
P. Diddy's
I took a
group?
Diddy
P. Diddy
moment.
get
I took a
here.
Diddy
No,
moment. I can't bet on
man.
Carolina in the playoffs because you guys are iffy, man.
I feel like you're going to join Cap's ownership group that he's trying to assemble. It's going to be you, P. Diddy, and Colin Kaepernick.
How do you feel about that?
About P. Diddy?
About him selling the team at all?
The whole situation's weird because there's not any information. It's weird that they called
That's
it.
why he's selling the team because he doesn't want any information.
Well, I
out
got that,
there.
but it's weird how they word it too. It's we've seen all year long. Hey, this dude, that dude's been accused of sexual harassment or sexual misconduct or whatever. It's just straight up. Even when the NFL Network got their stuff, it was straight up. They're accused of sexual harassment. This
That was
way,
bad,
this
by the
one,
way.
this one is just workplace misconduct. And it's so weird that they worded it that way. We can assume that it's probably sexual oriented type stuff, but why wouldn't they just call it that?
You
then?
know what
It's-
was weird? Beyond that, what was weird was when they said that our silent owner is going to lead the investigation into the misconduct. That was weird. That was
Yeah,
That was
there's a lot of
Nazi
pieces in
Hitler
this
shit,
puzzle that we're
dude.
missing.
And then the NFL was like, no,
No,
we'll take it over from here.
Yeah, we're not gonna let you do that, bro.
Yeah, it's a bad
And
idea.
I'm pretty sure the NFL will probably just let him go out. And the NFL doesn't want whatever
They
happened to
don't
come
want-
out
they
any
don't
more
want a
than he
bloodstain.
does.
Yeah, they just let
You
him-
and
talk
he's
about
probably
you were
going to make a shitload of money.
Oh, he's
yeah,
gonna
so
make billions
he's
of
going to be
dollars.
fine.
He's fine.
Yeah.
I find it kind of odd that he doesn't have like a family member to just turn it over to. It's kind of weird that he's just going to sell
That
it
is
outright.
But that could be part of the deal. They
part of
might
the
say,
problem.
hey,
Hey,
you know
we
what?
just want
We
the
need your
registered
family.
name
Yeah.
Or maybe
And-
his sons were fucking up too.
From everything that I've heard
It's true.
about this owner since he's come out to be an NFL owner when he started the Panthers is that he's one of the top owners as far
thought
as
he
like
was a
good
cool
guy,
dude.
like
Yeah, I thought
really
he was a
nice
good
guy.
dude.
Everybody has high praise about him, and even still, like obviously when these things come out, the media goes and they start interviewing everybody, and so far they've not found a single person to speak ill of him, to say he's this, that, or the other. So we'll see what turns out.
Money
like I
brings
said, it's
about
just
that
weird.
scrutiny. Money brings about that scrutiny, and you know what? I hate to see it to happen to good guys. I'm not
Right.
saying he was a good or a bad guy. I'm
Right,
saying
right.
everything, like you said, everything you read about him, he wasn't a bad guy.
Yeah.
Black quarterback, Spanish coach. I thought he was on top. But I'm going to be honest with you. If Diddy does buy the Carolina Panthers,
I
Oh, they're
don't want-
finally going to get a minority quarterback.
guess what? Guess what?
What?
I might become a Carolina Panther fan.
Just because
Oh,
Diddy's the
come
owner?
on.
Yeah.
No.
Fuck yeah.
You want? Did you
I'll
hear?
still be a Green Bay fan. But
Did you hear what he
I'll root
said?
for you? North Carolina?
No. That's one bad thing, but that's whatever.
What he said?
He said, my first move is going to be to sign Cap and make him start as the starting
Well-
quarterback. It's just competition, baby.
Well, that's just
Really?
Well,
like,
well,
Is it
whoa,
competition
slow
because you're
down.
letting him start right away? Yeah.
Well, that's a little bit off the cuff. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
sure
I
it was
get
a little
that.
in
I
jest,
get-
a little tongue
Exactly.
in cheek, but it's like
I get that.
Let's slow down. But I was thinking this is the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about.
Go ahead.
I think Scout Team, we need to start like a GoFundMe page so we can put a bid in on this. I think we could run the Carolina Panthers, and I think to start things off, we sign Tim Tebow to bring
Yes.
in competition.
Yes.
It's just competition, baby.
Yes.
If Diddy can throw out
Yes.
quarterback names that aren't as good as
Yes.
Cam Newton, we can.
Nope.
I'm
I
in.
mean,
Go
nope.
fund me.
Listen, he was Tebow's backup in college. Why can't he be Tebow's backup?
Nope.
Hey,
Nope.
there has not been
Not
another
even-
quarterback
I'm not even going to
at the University of Florida that
listen.
has been any good since Tim
not
Tebow.
even gonna
He has set
entertain
the
this
bar
shit.
so high
I'm not even entertaining this.
his
Yeah.
college career, and then he
And-
goes in the playoffs. beats the Steelers
That
in the
came-
playoffs.
that came
This
out of
is a
left.
winning
with
quarterback.
316 yards.
I'm sorry.
While
This
he
is
has
a
John
quarterback with a
316 on his
winning
I am
mentality
sorry to
right here.
everybody who's listening right
This
now. I'm
guy
just
right
sorry.
now,
I'm sorry, man.
I'm doing it.
And
I'm
just
sorry.
to up Diddy, he talked about they're going to win Super Bowl after Super Bowl. Not only are we win Super Bowl after Super Bowl, but to stick with his
Oh, God.
class president type speech, we're going to have free pizzas on Fridays.
Yes.
God.
Yes.
Free pizzas on Fridays.
Yes. It sounds
Just come
awesome.
up to the Panther Stadium and we'll be
Is
like,
it free pizza?
Oprah with pizzas. Like, you get a pizza and you get a pizza and you get a pizza. Everybody
Hey,
gets a pizza.
Hashtag Oprah solid.
What kind of pizza though?
Whatever pizza you want.
Pepperoni,
Made to order.
extra
Right.
cheese, sausage, meat lovers,
No, no.
veggie.
You know Diddy's not letting Papa John's in there. So I don't
No,
think
I mean, we
should-
don't-
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
All
We don't have to go there.
right,
We'll
there we
talk
go.
sponsorships with other
talk
pizza.
Yeah, I
Sponsorships,
mean,
right.
there's a
All
lot of other ones out there we could
All
go
right.
with.
I hear you. No,
Maybe
I
we can
mean,
get Anthony's cold fire pizza. Boom, done.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good pizza. That's good.
Anthony
pizza.
Mack's cold fire pizza. I like it. It's delicious.
Frozen pizza
Frozen pizza.
DiGiorno's?
Pizza
yeah.
bites. Pizza bites.
is DiGiorno's.
Pizza pockets. Hot pocket. Burning people's mouths off, yo.
Hey, you ever
Here-
had the DiGiorno's with the hot wings in it, dude? That shit's so disgusting.
I have not. And now that you've given it such great praise, I don't think I will ever take the opportunity to try those.
I'm excited for our ownership opportunity we have here.
We're gonna start a GoFundMe.
Here, this is the problem. I already have a GoFundMe page going right now
for what?
for Life in the Fast Lane.
Yes, you're making it happen from college tailgaters.
The College Tailgaters gave me a great idea the other day, so we've decided to start a GoFundMe page for the great Lane Kiffin to have his own reality show. He's basically a top 5 college coach.
I mean, when you blow out Akron in the Boca
I mean-
Raton Bowl, you were automatic.
No, it had
solid
several more
top
names
five.
Yeah,
than
it
that.
has a
I just
lot
can't
more
pronounce
names
it.
than that, bro.
It was
Come
the something Chate, Rodney,
Boca Raton, Florida.
Hold on.
Oh, you got to read this.
Yeah.
It's like the Boca Raton, you know, that town that's just north of Miami. Like, it's where all the rich people live.
And
Boca
they
Raton.
go there to
Like,
retire.
The Sherry Bundy Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl.
That is
That-
the real deal right there, my friends. Life in the Fast Lane, starring Lane Kiffin
man.
with the Chart Terry, whatever,
Right.
Boca Raton Bowl. That's how we do it right there. So we're going fun. Now we're asking people to really extend themselves. I'm asking this as a big favor
So
to us here at
I
Scout
think you
Team.
go half and half.
I'd rather go for the Carolina owner. I don't want to see Lane.
I know it's gonna be hard to
Okay,
reach
why
that
don't
goal.
we do this?
I'm
Why
just
don't we
saying.
first own a football team?
Okay.
Then we'll take our money from the football team and start life in the fast lane.
That's a
That's
better
a-
idea.
it's a plan. I like that
if we
strategy.
Get the football team, then we'll go to Lane Kiffin and put a camera in his face 24/7. We'll do it. We'll make it happen.
You know what? We'll make him our coach.
We
I
just-
love it.
Like
I love it. I
co-coach.
love where
we
you're
just
going with
lost
this.
our bid for the NFL
No,
team.
Coco.
now.
What?
We just
if,
lost
If
it.
Diddy can hire Cam or Colin Kaepernick and start him over Cam Newton, then we can get Lane Kiffin.
Tim Tebow, Lane,
Lane
Kiffin.
Kiffin.
It's a superstar studded team. We've already won the Super Bowl before we even got ownership.
We're so done.
We're in.
We're so done.
We're
They won't
in.
even let us in the meeting. They won't even let us in the
Hey, you know
NFL
what?
office.
Just to be nice, I think what we'll do is do the old Chris Leak, Tim Tebow routine. So we'll have Lane Kiffin run it, and we'll do it with Cam Newton and Tim Tebow. Unstoppable.
And
unstoppable.
listen,
Here we go.
I got it. Now, Diddy did talk about one other thing we haven't covered, and that's halftime show. Halftime show. Weird Al Yankovic singing all of his Star Wars songs. Done.
Yoda. Y-O-D-A Yoda. I love it. We're in.
My, this here Anakin guy.
Something's
Maybe
wrong with
later,
you guys.
someday later. Now he's just.
I mean, this was all scripted, guys. This was
something's
all on our
wrong
notes.
with
We're
you guys.
following it to the T because
Oh,
we are not going off the rails at all. This
There
is
is
how
there is no rabbit hole
there's.
here.
We're not ad-libbing. We're not improving. This is all on script. So next,
So Lane Kiffin in college football.
yeah. What about
Yeah,
that? That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
So they won
sure.
the Boca Raton Bowl, but
Get it right. The Cherry Bundy Tart Cherry. The Cherry Bundy Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl.
so you can't even get it right and you're reading it.
Fuck no.
Peter picked a
Who
pipe of
who
pecker-
named this? This is
peppers.
ridiculous. Hey,
Cherry Bundy,
10-year
obviously.
extension. He's got to be
10-year
worth
extension.
something.
So that means we got another GoFundMe page to get his buyout so we can hire him as our coach.
It's not a big buyout.
It's not.
No, it can't be a big buyout. Hey,
They're probably like just get new shuffleboards for the retirement communities around town, and we'll call it a deal.
best record in
That is
FAU
Boca
history
Raton.
right there.
Yeah.
Best record in FAU history. Lane Kiffin, he brought it. He brought his A game. He's in the fast lane.
Oh boy.
The lane train is in town.
At the Florida Atlantic.
They were like, was Beyonce in Bring It On? No, who was in Bring It On?
Not Beyonce.
No, who was the chick?
Mary Jane.
Kirsten Dunst was Mary Jane.
Yeah,
Well,
then-
who's the other chick?
it was. She's Mary Jane too on another show. Gabrielle Union.
Gabrielle
That's
Union.
the one.
Yeah, Gabrielle Union.
She was like, "Bring it," and he was like, "It's been brought."
That's. Fuck.
It's done been brought in.
I don't even know why I
Bitch.
helped you. I don't even know why I helped you with that. No,
That's what we did here.
Oh
that's
man,
just bad. It's
All
just
right.
bad.
So speaking of figures in sports that are just electrifying, like P Diddy, let's talk a little bit about LeVar Ball real quick.
Oh yeah, we forgot about talking about him.
No, we never forget about talking about LeVar Ball because the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only LeVar Ball is done it again. He gets us on his mind every week by coming up with crazy ass shit. And this week he's decided that he's coming up with the Junior Basketball Association of America. And this is for
That's a crappy name.
high school basketball players that are coming out.
Is it sponsored by Tart Cherry?
Cherry Bundy.
Cherry
No,
Bundy?
there's only
Cherry Bundy
one
Chart
business
Perry.
that would sponsor this, and it is a Big Baller Brand. They're gonna
Baller
be
Brand.
they're gonna be having Big Baller Brand shoes, Big Baller Brand emblems
I
on all
feel
their
like it
jerseys.
would have a better chance if Boo Berries was the
Boo Berry.
sponsors.
Yep,
Did you say Boo Berry?
Boo Berry
Blueberries,
cereal.
It's a cereal. No,
It's a cereal?
It's like you got Count Chocula, you got Boo Berries,
it was like a Frankenberry thing.
Frankenberry,
Yep.
What the fuck?
It's a thing.
Boo Berry?
And it's
Boo Berry.
Is it like a knockoff Lucky Charms or something?
No,
What
there's
the
like
fuck
you
is that?
got
They're
Count
blue.
Chocula, you got Frankenberry,
I
and
remember
you got
Count
Boo Berry.
Chocula. I don't-
It's in that same series. I don't know who makes it.
No.
it's
I'm out.
not as popular as the others, but it is a cereal. I'm gonna say that it is.
Obviously.
And it would
Gotcha.
still be a better sponsor than Big Baller Brand.
Yeah, Big Baller Brand is not a good sponsor. And this is just a side note. I saw this on a couple of the other sports radio shows this past week, but apparently if you pre-ordered your shoes for Big Baller Brand and you ordered them 8 months ago, they finally came in this week.
Oh, they came in this week. Merry
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah, they finally
And
got there.
the good news is they don't look anything like the picture.
So it's like a cheeseburger at
Dude,
McDonald's.
Did you
Yeah.
see the review
Like you
of
see
it?
the Big Mac on
Yeah,
the poster
and you
board.
get it, it's completely
completely
different.
trash.
And so I saw it on
who
Barstool.
would have thought that?
Yeah, I saw it on Barstool Sports. The guy said he ordered a 10 and it came in as a size 13.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was a
There
different
it is,
style. And he said it was ugly as
I'll all get out.
Yeah, as all get out. And Dan Lebitard on the Dan Lebitard show, he also did the same thing. Size was right, but absolutely different shoe.
So he didn't bring it like Lane Kiffin.
He did not bring it. The Big Baller Brand is failing.
Big time.
I mean,
That's when you have to
kinda-
come up with a basketball
look,
league, man.
look,
That's
we-
when you come up with the whole league. You say, you know what? I don't want this little shoe business. I want the whole shebang. And I'm going to come up with a league. And it's for the guys that don't want to go to college because they're the ones that are going to be the most successful.
so this is what I'm gonna say. I understand everything you're all going through. The shoe fiasco was kind of fucked up. You know, $500 shoes and then send some garbage out. I am gonna say though, I'm starting to like his business philosophy. Go big or go home. I'm starting to like it. I mean,
I
might
can
be-
appreciate it.
He might be an asshole. He might be brash, but I mean, he's at least he's staying relevant by being an asshole and being brash and coming up with these off the wall ideas that, to be honest with you, people are actually starting to get behind and say, we want to help you. I mean, the junior basketball league, whatever the hell it may be or whatever it is it going to get a lot of play? Probably not. Will it succeed? Hell, I don't know. But at least he's throwing it out there, right? I mean, at least he's trying.
He's
just
gonna
saying.
have a hard time selling the league because he doesn't have the. You need a lot of capital to start something like this.
Absolutely.
A ton of capital. So I mean, maybe he goes out and he gets a ton of people to back him and everything else. But if we've learned anything, it's that starting any type of league, especially one that's competing against already established entities like the NCAA, like the NBA, it's going to be tough. I mean, look at the Big Three or whatever, that league. That had a ton of capital poured into it by people who are 1,000 times wealthier than LeVar Ball could ever dream of being.
Yeah.
And it still needed a lot of help. I mean, time will tell what will happen with the Big Three, but those are established names that we all know and love, and we still didn't watch. So are you going to get people to watch, I don't know, big baller what? Like the big baller cheetahs versus the big baller rhinos? Like, are you going to watch that over Ohio State versus Michigan or the March Madness? I don't think you are.
I mean, it's no different than the G League. Are any of us
Is anybody
watching the
watching
G League?
No. Have you driven out to Lakeland to go watch the Lakeland Magic?
Not yet.
Lakeland.
Not yet. I
follow
plan
him
on
on
doing it
Twitter.
one day. It's on my bucket list.
I follow him on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
So
But-
speaking of leagues that come together, and it's very difficult to do it, one man who is very wealthy and very good at pulling together stuff is Vince McMahon.
Yes, love Vince.
So Vince McMahon, back in 2001, came up with the legendary XFL.
He's
That
trying to
is
bring
legendary?
it back
It is legendary, sir,
To who?
to everybody.
to everybody.
Okay.
To
Orlando Rage, never
everybody.
forget. Orlando Rage.
And so now Vince is back in the news saying that he's going to bring back the league. So if LeVar can do it, Vince McMahon can do it. And Vince, he hasn't specifically said that it's going to be the XFL, but he said that he's getting back into the sports entertainment realm in a different venture. And everybody is putting one and one together to get two, and that XFL is going to be back.
I'd love to see him own the Panthers.
Hey, you know what? Could be a thing. He could be a good owner there.
You know, they got to vote for NFL owners.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The NFL, I mean, is he going to even get the vote?
I mean,
Why
someone
would he?
voted for Jerry Jones. I'm pretty sure they'll vote
Yeah,
for Vince
true.
McMahon.
That's
Jerry
true.
Jones
I mean-
paid everybody off. He said,
I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want Vince McMahon as an owner. He's a very, very successful businessman. He's in the sports entertainment world, so he has sports entertainment background. It's better than, like you said, Jerry Jones coming in with what, oil money
Yeah.
and
Black Gold.
Texas tea.
I mean, Diddy's a very successful businessman too, right?
Oh, come on,
Right.
man. He also called them the North Carolina Panthers.
And that he wants to bench Cam Newton.
Maybe
then.
he's
And
gonna
put in
rename
Colin
him.
Kaepernick.
Maybe he's going to fucking rename him.
I hope
That's what
not.
it is. North Carolina Panthers. North Carolina Black Panthers.
That's where I thought you were going. They officially are now the Black Panthers of North Carolina.
North Carolina.
I'm just saying. Hey, it is what it is.
I mean, that's
right?
a rabbit hole right there.
That's-
a real big,
hey,
black,
that-
dark rabbit hole.
Hey, that's what everybody's fucking afraid of anyway, right? Just go ahead and say it. We don't
God.
want to be called the Black Panthers.
No, I'm just
dude.
afraid of him making realistic decisions like I'm going to bench Cam Newton for.
He'll get the
Colin
best
Kaepernick.
business
Hey,
people.
the good news is Vince McMahon will call them like the North Carolina DDTs.
Exactly.
Just boom, breaking
Yeah.
it down. Or the suplex.
No, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think he's serious. I think he's
Who,
just.
Diddy?
Yeah, I think he's just doing it to, hey, here's something I can kind of goof on and get
Oh,
people
did
to
he?
notice
Yeah.
me and have people talk about me and stuff. So, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But
It was a fun
hey,
narrative.
Derek Jeter owns the Marlins now. So
Exactly.
anything's
And he's doing a
possible.
great job.
He's doing a fantastic job.
Just trade away all the good players.
All right, let's segue into college sports. We talked about Lane
Segue.
Kiffin. Signing day.
Signing day.
The worst non-sporting event, sporting event.
So
I thought you were excited about this. to be
No,
honest
I
with
mean,
you.
I'm excited about it
'Cause I'm not.
to a point. I'm not like these people who go on and tweet and comment and talk trash about their signing class because let's face it, half of these kids, you're not even going to know who they are 3 or 4 years from now.
So I've got
And-
good news for you.
Yeah.
I've got an insider that wants to get on the phone for us today.
Oh, who's your insider?
So I don't know if you remember him. A few weeks back, we had him call in. His name was
man.
Oh boy.
Peter Pendergast. And so
The Astros fan?
he was a big
shit.
Houston Astros fan. So he was hitting me up on Twitter. You can always check me out at Kyle Scout Team, or you can hit us up at Scout Team Radio on Twitter. He was hitting me up, and he was just saying how excited he was about signing day, and he really had some good nuggets of information. So if you guys don't mind, real quick, I'm going to go ahead and try to get him on the phone.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh boy.
Hey, are you... Okay, all right. You're getting on now.
Hey, Peter, are you on the line, buddy?
Well, yeah, I'm here.
What's up?
Can you hear me? All right.
Yeah, Peter, you're coming in loud and clear, bud. It's been a while since we've talked to you. Last time we talked about your Houston Astros, and they won. They won the World Series, big guy. What did you do when they won?
I went on an online dating website because I was looking for a girl because I was so excited. And you know what I did?
What did you do,
want to
buddy?
know? Wait. You asked him?
No, go ahead. What did you do, bud?
I don't know if it's appropriate for radio.
No, we're not on radio. This is a podcast. We do whatever we want.
Oh man.
We just talked about the Carolina Black Panthers, so we're good.
The
I
Carolina-
actually never talked to one of the girls, but she still made me happy with her picture.
Whoa, Peter.
Oh,
Is that how you celebrate your team's win, man?
it was quite the explosion.
Does your mom know you look at this kind of stuff?
I locked my door.
Wait. You still live with your mom?
Of course he does. Didn't we find that out last time?
Okay, that's fine.
She's my roommate.
Oh,
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't live with his
yeah,
mom.
that's-
They're roommates.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's a good way to look at
I
it.
remember.
So, Peter, it's signing day, and Kyle told us that you're big into signing stuff. Are you the type of guy that likes to tweet at athletes?
Well, I normally don't, but like I got so excited today too. Like when the Astros won the World Series, that I had to tweet at a couple of my guys. So my favorite team is the Montana State Bobcats.
From Houston to Montana, huh?
Yeah. Okay, so Montana State.
So I've been following what they've been doing.
You're really excited there. You can't even
Yes,
contain
yeah.
yourself.
Oh my gosh, one of the girls had instant messaged me, but it was just asking me to click on her website. So I thought it was going to be a real thing. That's why I was laughing.
Hey, I want you
You
to
gotta watch out for those
I
cam
want
bots.
you to focus, man. You're not on the website right now, are you?
Yeah,
He's a
I am.
multitasker. All right, so let's
on
talk
the
about Montana
phone,
State.
and so
Montana State.
they've got a lot of really good recruits. I got so excited about the signing day. I just wanted to welcome a couple of the guys that I've been tweeting at today to the family. One is linebacker Jory Chody.
Jory Chody?
You remember that name? He might
Jory
be a
Chody.
starter in 4 years. He might in 4
in
years,
the
not
NFL.
next year. No. He just as a senior.
Well, you got to earn your way on the Montana
He might
State, right?
he might make it. But he's from Bozeman, Montana. It's a really
Right.
big football school.
Bozeman, yeah.
It's
Jory Jody?
Yeah, he's a linebacker, but he weighs 148 pounds.
And Montana State. Yeah, we'll watch out for him.
So there's
He's a real Clay Matthews.
There's one other guy I really want to mention because this guy, I mean, he is a looker. His name is Logan Kleinhands. I mean, that's a football name right there. I'm telling you. He is from the same exact school as the other guy, Bozeman High School in Montana. This is like a football factory over here.
It sounds like they got a pipeline to Bozeman.
I mean, that's
And
all they bring on. And this
the-
guy,
the
he's
other-
he's
the
a
oth-
wide receiver.
The other funny part about this whole thing, Peter, is it sounds like you're making these names up, but you are legitimate. I'm legitimately looking at Montana State's, and they really have a guy named Jory Chody, and Logan Kleinhand. Kleinhand.
There's an S at the end, sir.
Okay.
All right.
And wait, one other guy.
What position was
he? Oh, yeah.
Hold on 1 second. And this other guy, he's really funny looking because he's got this like porn stash, but his name's Joe McElroy. And he's no relation to any other McElroys that we know, or McElwains, or any of
So you
those
sure
guys.
he's not related to McElroy from Alabama? Is he a quarterback?
I don't know. I don't know what he is. He's a tight end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do know that. I shouldn't. You've got me all flustered now. What? I don't.
Don't get him.
calm
I don't know why you're asking me all these
Peter, calm
questions.
down.
You don't want to
Calm
get
down,
flustered,
Peter.
buddy. Yeah. Hey.
Take a breath. Take a
So
breath.
Joe McElroy,
Take
back
a-
to what
take
I
a
was
hit off
talking
of
about.
Your asthma inhaler.
Joe McElroy is from Missoula, Montana. And it's Loyola High School in Missoula. So Montana has the best football players in all of the country, and signing day was really awesome.
For you, I guess, right?
So you guys are thinking national championship then with that signing class?
Maybe.
Now, Peter, I gotta ask a question. It's kind of personal. How many of these athletes have blocked you by now?
All of them?
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
Well, it looks like Kyle hasn't blocked you yet, so that's good. And we appreciate.
He's
happened?
my only follower.
Yeah.
I've got one follower.
Maybe I'll follow you. Just don't get weird this time. Last time I followed you, you got weird, Peter, and it's not cool.
I've never
You
been
can't-
weird in
you
my
can't
entire
send
life.
unsolicited pictures
I've
of
never,
that.
ever been weird. I don't even know what you're talking
I'm
about.
never gonna follow him. I'm just saying, bro. I mean, I'm a little busy, so that's why I can't follow you.
Is that because you're dark and handsome?
You know what you need
This
to
is
do,
why I
Peter?
won't follow you.
You know how you get Anthony Mack to engage you on Twitter?
No, don't do that.
Here's all you have to do. Talk about how Florida State has the 70th recruiting class after today. Just send him a tweet about that, and that'll get him fired up. He'll start tweeting at you left and right.
No, I won't. I'm good. I'm all right.
All right, so you got one more guy that you wanted to talk to us about?
Yeah, it's the guy from Fast and the Furious,
What's his name?
Tyrese Gibson.
That is a legit Montana State Bobcat.
He's a cornerback, and his brother is Tyree Gibson.
Oh,
They're
Tyrese
twins,
and Tyree.
Tyrese and Tyree. But Tyrese is the guy from Fast and the Furious.
I haven't seen any of those movies, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah,
They're twinning.
they're twins. Yeah.
Anyway, I gotta get back because my mom, she needs me to fold her underwear, and if I don't get to it right away,
God.
she. Mom, stop it, Mom! I'm gonna get to it. Stop it!
This message brought to you
Stop
by
it, Mom.
Scout Team Radio.
Get to the underwear laundry now.
Oh my God.
I gotta go now.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, see you later,
See you
Peter.
later, buddy. Yeah.
Peace out, Peter.
That was wild. That was another wild
Always good to
interview.
hear from Peter, man. Always
Not
good
really.
to
Not
hear
really.
from Peter.
Not really.
I like him. He's a
Of
good guy.
course you like him. Peter's a little funny.
He did bring up a good point, though. What's with the 70th recruiting class from your boy? I thought he was supposed to be this massive Florida recruiter.
What is it? Early signing day?
Yeah, man.
I don't give a fuck. I really don't care about early signing day. What happens on the field? Get them on the field and let's get ready to play ball.
Yeah, to me, I don't really pay attention to stars or rankings. I just need to look at the class size and did you answer the positions of need? That's what I want to know. Obviously, you like it when your team gets a 5-star quarterback like Emory Jones at Florida. You like it when you see that kind of stuff, but it doesn't spell success yet.
Or when Florida's biggest rival, Georgia, has the best recruiting class of the day.
Yeah, so they did sign a lot of good guys. It'll be good to see. I was tweeting at some Georgia players or Georgia fans today.
Were you like Peter? You're tweeting them and they're
Yeah,
blocking
tweeting,
you.
they're
They're like,
blocking
dude,
me, yeah.
seriously. I'm
No, I
17
mean-
years old. Stop tweeting at me, sir.
Again, it's good to get excited about, but LSU has had top classes every
Exactly.
year. FSU had top classes every year.
For the last
You got to
5-6
develop
years.
that talent, and I want to see. Kirby Smart is obviously doing a phenomenal job at Georgia, and time will tell whether or not he wins a national title this year. But whether he does or doesn't, he still, to me, needs to prove that he can win and develop his own players. When you got guys like Chubb and Sony Michel running the football, two guys that were groomed by Mark Richt, who is by far one of the best running back developers in college football. Like that guy was just a running back. He would just put in running back after running back after running back into the NFL. And let's see what Kirby Smart can do without those guys. Let's see if he can develop his own Chubb, his own Michelle. Now, Swift looks good. Fromm looks okay. He's an average quarterback. He's at 2,100 yards, 21 touchdowns. Not great numbers. Not
Freshman.
Not bad
He's young.
numbers. He's a
He's
freshman.
young. He's developing.
But there again, it's something that Kirby Smart, that Fromm needs to prove that they can take that next step in development and continue it on. What happens when Florida gets better and Kentucky gets better and Tennessee gets better, Missouri gets better? The SEC East was a terrible league this year.
Yep.
It was a terrible division. So we'll see what happens.
Go back to recruiting classes and everybody every year getting top recruiting classes. You know what else happens when you get all those 7 years of straight 5-star recruits?
What's that?
They fucking leave.
Yeah.
You
So you're constantly having to refill 'em.
Exactly. You get full. You get 5 quarterbacks that are all blue chippers, and all of a sudden you're down to two or even a 1 because that guy was like, "Hey, look, man, I came in as a 5-star recruit. I'm a sophomore now, and I haven't even touched the field. I'm out my junior year." It happens all the time. So that's why recruiting class numbers, they matter, but at the same time, you can also see the turn of events that.
And for now, that's why Urban Meyer and Dabo Swinney and
They're
Nick
okay.
Saban are proven to be better than the rest because they've proven year in and year out, it doesn't matter who they lose, they're able to not only cycle in new recruits but develop them to play at the level that the last players did. Where guys like Jimbo Fisher and Gene Chizik and Mark Richt to a certain extent, they didn't prove that they could do that year in and year out. When you have Winstons and Cooks, those are like NFL top elite athletes. So you can bring in the next 5-star running back, but it doesn't mean that 5-star running back's going to be Dalvin Cook. You need to prove, Jimbo Fisher, that you can develop him into being the next Dalvin Cook, or that you can develop these quarterbacks into the next Jameis Winston. And that's where Jimbo needs to prove it down the line. Obviously, he wasn't able to do so at Florida State. I don't know if he will be able to at Texas A&M. But
no news about him coming out of Texas A&M, by the way.
yeah, I haven't really
almost
looked at the recruiting
nothing.
class or what they've signed
Nothing.
or anything like that. But
All I know is I'm getting drunk over here. I was playing a drink every time I heard the word Jimbo, and
Jimbo.
I'm wasted now.
Just saying.
and that's not a knock on Florida State, and it's not a knock on Jimbo Fisher. It's not saying Fisher's a bad coach
No.
or that Florida State is bad at developing players. It's just it's a difficult level, and that's why Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, and Urban Meyer are kind of on a different planet right now compared to everybody else in the NCAA football.
Yeah,
so we'll
I
see.
agree with that.
I'm good with that.
So UCF, how'd they do?
It looked like they have a good recruiting class. I was looking at it. A lot of offensive linemen really early in the signing day. They picked up several offensive linemen. They picked up a couple linebackers and a bunch of defensive linemen. That was their need that they had, so that's where they stacked up. And, I mean, if you read the news from UCF, everybody sounds like they're the best player since sliced bread, and
Right,
that's
of
kind of the
course.
problem with this signing day is, like, I
Exactly.
want to see these guys on the field. So, again, like you said, Chris, when you have needs and they're filling those needs with players, you're hoping these players develop. You hope they become the guy that they're projected to be. And so when you get these position needs filled, you're feeling good as a fan. So that's where I'm at with UCF.
Yeah, like UCF went 12-0, and
Yep, I know.
They're 73 on the recruiting list, and they only signed 13 3-stars. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean a lot to me. They were still fucking
Right.
12-0.
And that's
You know?
where to me recruiting matters. Everybody says recruiting matters, and there's a lot of truth to
It
that.
matters, but
Because if you look at the top 10 teams, you look at the top 10 recruiting classes, there's a lot of consistency there. But you also need to develop the talent. If there's one thing that McElwain was, he was a decent recruiter. We got top 10 to top 20 classes, the 3 classes he got or the 2 classes he got, but he didn't develop that talent. And neither did Will Muschamp. Will Muschamp got some good recruiting classes, didn't develop that talent. It didn't pan out onto the field. So that's where Scott Frost kind of proved his worth and value is he never brought in anything higher than 50 at UCF. So, but he developed that talent into a 12-0 team and a team that I think is going to beat Auburn in a couple of weeks. So, just like
That's a bold
that's why
prediction.
I said, oh, I've already made that prediction. That's going to happen. But
Right.
now that I've heard that Scott Frost is 100% committed and he says, I'm here and we're going to coach our tails off for these players, I'm definitely on board for that Auburn. But that's for our next show. But I mean, Nebraska is finishing at 47th right now, so it's not like he's lighting the world on fire at Nebraska. But to Anthony's point, this is the early signing day. This is a brand new thing to college football. I don't know what to make of it. I think if they keep this, in 5 years, we'll know what does having an early jump on early signing day mean. Does it mean anything? Is there teams that have more success when they sign 20 players on the early signing day than if you don't? How does this pan out? So
I remember signing day a couple of years. I think it was a couple of recruits that had they had committed to certain schools, and it was getting ready for August to come around, and they were asking us guys, "Hey, look, why aren't you on campus?" And some of them didn't even graduate high school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that was a long time ago. Technology has come a long way. Those guys look into those grades before they even give them a letter of intent or whatever. But at the same time,
But if you
anything can
But that's
happen.
another thing about these recruiting rankings.
It's early. These guys
Not
aren't
only is
even
it
out of
early,
high
but
school.
even when they were in February, I know there's a lot of times when Meyer was here, he'd sign like 25 guys, and we'd have this top recruiting class.
get 12.
And then we wouldn't get that bad, but there would be like 3 or 4 guys that go to a junior college instead because they didn't have what it took to get into to UF. And they don't really go back and say, well, let's regrade this class. It's set in stone. If you have the number 1 recruiting class, they don't care if
Yeah, exactly.
4 of them go to junior college, 5 of them transfer, and 6 of them never played a single down. And they just played on the scout team the whole time. So, I mean, it doesn't... And sometimes that's what happens, and that's why you can't...
That's what happens a lot of the
That's
time.
why you can't take it... If you look at UF or FSU's recruiting classes the last 6 years, I guarantee you half of the names, you'll be like, I don't know who any of these guys are. I've never heard of these guys before.
Who Florida State signed, I think, is it FAU's quarterback? Who's
don't
FAU's
know.
quarterback? We signed,
I know it was Driscoll's cousin or brother or something like that.
then that might not be the guy.
That's who was quarterbacking in the
Yeah.
bowl game.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless you're talking about someone earlier.
Hell, I think he may have got suspended. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. That's a FSU guy.
So
You're gonna fit right in here, son.
So the guy was on Last Chance U. God damn it, what's his name? But either way, he got kicked out of FSU. John Franklin III. He was FSU's quarterback. He got suspended from there. That guy was a blue chip recruit that came out and was supposed to like light the world on fire. He went to Mississippi or whatever it was on Last Chance U. Didn't really play there, but then got recruited to FAU and still fucked up. You know, it's guys like that walking around the world every day. So I mean, early signing day and in general is just like get them on the field in August. Make sure they come to school. Make sure they actually play the game, and then we'll talk. You know what I'm saying?
Develop that talent. Like I said, when I look at recruiting classes, again, you obviously like to see 5-star athletes. It gives you that little comfort that you like to have, but I don't read full on into it. I'm not going to sit here and say Emory Jones is going to light the world up. I think for what he looks like he's a perfect quarterback for Mullen's system. He was a defensive tackle and a quarterback. I can't think of anything more Tebow-esque than being a defensive tackle in high school. So we'll see how he pans out, though. He still has to go out and prove that he can do it against college athletes.
Actually, John Franklin III, he actually left Last Chance, the college in Mississippi, to JUCO, and went to Auburn. He didn't play for Auburn.
Nice.
So he's been to 4 colleges.
Yeah.
Well traveled, my friend.
Exactly.
Well traveled.
So,
All right.
but like I said, I like to see positions of need filled. Like if we're low on offensive line and we sign 10 wide receivers that are 5-star, I don't give a damn about those 10 wide receivers because we didn't pick up any offensive linemen, and our wide receivers are going to be garbage if we don't have anybody to block for the quarterback. So that to me is what I look for in recruiting is numbers. I don't want a class that's smaller than 18, and I want to make sure that our positions of need got filled.
Absolutely.
So I got nothing else on that if you guys got nothing else on that.
I got nothing else on that. Real quick, any last words before we go into MVPs?
No, I don't got anything.
I have a golden mic.
Oh, it's nice.
Wait, I got one.
Shiny.
It's nice.
I got one last word.
Last word.
Last word. All right, MVPs. Anthony, do you want to start us out
You want me
today?
to go first?
Yeah, let's hear it. Bring it. Bring
All
your
right, I
your
got
A
good-
game.
I got a good one. My MVP for tonight.
All right, Chris America, your turn.
No, I'm gonna punch him. Snuggies. I went to the store the other day, and my kids like, "Hey, look, I want a Snuggie," and I'm like, "What is a Snuggie?" I didn't know what a Snuggie was. Apparently, it's been around for a couple of years, but everybody's walking around. My cousins and everybody, they all have Snuggies, and they're just fucking blankets. Like seriously, somebody found a way to make money off of resurfacing blankets. And I'm just going to say, Snuggies, you're my MVP because you fooled the world.
Snuggies is one of those things
It's
where
one of those
it's one of those things where you look at them and go, damn it, I could have thought of that and been a millionaire.
It's
but
a
I
blanket.
didn't. So everybody's been in that whole situation where you're cold not many times here in Florida, but where you're cold and you're trying to watch TV and you need to fast forward through a commercial. You're like, but I don't want to bring my arm out into the cold tundra of Florida. And then that's where the Snuggie comes in. And it's like, why did I not think of basically getting a robe and putting it on backwards and calling it a blanket? Because that's what a Snuggie is.
$1 billion idea,
Million
whatever it
dollar-
is.
I agree with you.
It's crazy.
So my MVP ties in with $1 million idea. This news story came out this week. My MVP started to go out to this guy. He got arrested for selling $1 million worth of Bitcoins, but he was selling Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
And he was a black
He was
guy.
he was selling them on the street. Now that was gonna be my MVP when I first heard the story, but as time went on, damn it, fake news. It was fake.
It was.
It was a fake story.
Holy
So my MVP
Oh, hey, wait!
goes.
They tried to blame that on a black guy.
I don't know what they did. Why did
Motherfuckers.
you're the one that brought up black guy?
Yeah, it was. I read the story too. It was a black guy.
Oh, I don't know, but
Motherfucker.
my MVP goes to
They always blame the black guy.
The person who made up the story is my MVP because that's a hilarious fake story if I ever heard one. It was like, what kind of bullshit can I write about today? I don't know. Let's talk about a guy who sold Bitcoins, but really they were Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
Wow, that's crazy.
That guy had to be high as a kite, man.
Damn.
That's my MVP.
Damn, that's a good one.
That's a good
I got to
MVP,
follow that one. I don't have a funny one. I got a serious one. So I just wanted to give.
Way to bring us down.
I
Why didn't
know.
you go first,
Damn
man?
They got Superman snuggies.
So over at the Four Letter Network, we all know who they are, ESPN. Ryan Russillo, who's the afternoon guy, he announced today that he is actually leaving ESPN. And when he was doing his explanation of why he was leaving, I really respected what he was saying. But he kind of said, 13 years ago he was a bartender, and he said, I want to have my own talk show. And he did it. And so now that he's got his own talk show, he said over the last year or two, he's really just hasn't been himself, hasn't really had the passion that he needed to do the job, that he really wants to follow his dreams and write a TV show. And he pitched one a few years ago, and it just didn't quite work out the way he thought it would work out. And he has this inner burning desire to go do that. And he's leaving a job that 99.9% of sports Americans out there would say would be one of the best jobs in the world, just sitting there talking about sports all day long for ESPN, great time slot, just great gig. And he just said, he's like, I know this was a great opportunity. I appreciate ESPN for what they did, but I'm walking away. We're leaving amicably. I'm still going to do a podcast. He wants to be more competition for us, apparently. And
motherfucker.
he's going to go follow his dreams and try to write a TV show and do a script and be a writer for a TV show, which, hey, you know what? Follow your dreams, man. Whatever you believe in, whatever you love, go do it. Much respect to you, Ryan Russillo. Wish you the best.
If a guy that averages 2 points a game in college can ride 3 children to NBA basketball league, anything can happen.
Anything is possible.
We do have Trump as a president, so anything is possible.
Sky's the limit.
Sky's the fucking limit.
Sky's the limit.
I'm glad you brought that up, man. That's a good story, bro. Go for it. Jump in it.
I thought it was cool. And, we always think, hey, my job sucks and I wish I could do this or I wish I could do that. So
Absolutely.
even these guys that have these jobs that we think are the best in the world, sometimes they have things in their minds where they're like, this isn't doing it for me.
They're just regular humans, just like
Yeah,
us.
we're all people, man.
Hell yeah, we all have the same thoughts.
You have
I
your
tell
ups
people
and your
that all the
downs
time.
and your different dreams that come up, and sometimes you say, you know what, it's time to move forward.
I'm gonna go do what I want to do.
Yeah, jump in.
Fuck it.
Jump in the deep end. So I think that's all I got for tonight. Chris, you always
Yeah, tune in next week where where Kyle discusses his dream to become a male gigolo.
Is that his dream or my dream?
Your dream, his dream, our dream.
Oprah solid.
#Oprah Solid.
See ya.